This is IGN.
A Dynasty Warriors roguelite spin-off that will send you slashing through thousands of enemies over and over. This is your IGN review of Warriors Abyss by Jada Griffin. Stop me if you've heard this pitch before. A warrior is summoned to another world to fight hordes of enemies in the name of a deity usurped by an evil force. Yeah, but while its story and its boss fights might be phoned in, Warriors Abyss still manages to confidently put the 1 versus 1,000 spin of its Dynasty Warriors roots onto the tried and true room-to-room roguelite template of games like Hades, and that's something I haven't seen quite as many times before. Combined with one of the most extensive rosters of characters I've seen in this genre, a simple yet impactful upgrade system, and screen-filling special attacks, this new roguelite managed to get at least a fair number of those good old just one more run hooks in me before its story trailed off. Without a doubt, the 100-character roster is the strongest part of Abyss, because they function as both playable characters and as summonable upgrades who join your hero as you go. After taking over a third of them for a spin, I've gravitated towards characters with specific abilities or ones I've favored in past games. While each run never really felt all that different from the last, even when venturing outside my favorites, I still enjoyed the feeling of when my build came together to deal massive damage or overwhelm my enemies with multiple status effects. Unfortunately, the story never did. I often struggled to connect with it due to the way every conversation doled out after defeating a boss is limited to mostly monologues from the ousted ruler of the underworld. Despite Warriors Abyss having a cast of 100 playable characters, or maybe rather because of that, none of them get a chance to shine. Every opportunity for dialogue gives options that either say the same thing two ways or result in a very similar response, so there are no interesting decisions to make and the characters are interchangeable. The shops and random events that occurred during runs are also devoid of other characters, so even these were wasted opportunities to add a little bit of personality to the story. Thankfully, the large roster of characters and entertaining combat kept the repeated runs enjoyable, even if the story wasn't there. Every time you beat a room, you have the opportunity to recruit someone into one of your 6 slots, and they work something like boons in Hades, except you can swap people in and out between rooms once they're in your inventory. There are also 30 different unlockable formations to choose from that add depth to your options, like empowering characters placed in odd-numbered slots, or improving your main hero's stats based on how many of a certain elemental emblem you've collected that run. Abyss swings its difficulty pendulum from fairly difficult to too easy, depending on your progress through the meta progression between runs. Your first few runs of any roguelite are meant to be nearly insurmountable. You deal low damage to bosses and take a lot until you build up your attack and defense stats. Looking at the progression tree for character unlocks, that's pretty quick and easy to do as you pick a path and unlock your favorite characters, or characters with the preferred permanent stat bonuses. There are plenty of other great characters to unlock along the way. Some come with extra abilities, and characters gain cumulative levels the more you play them. Every 50 levels, they gain permanent bonuses to their attack and defense, meaning that with enough time and effort, even characters without special traits can gain enough power to tackle the most difficult challenges. Warriors Abyss may stumble in its open-ended, cookie-cutter story and cut-and-paste boss battles, but the replayability that comes from its combat and the customization of its multitude of characters and builds helped keep me slashing through thousands of enemies for dozens of hours of roguelite runs. It's always great to see a long-running series like Dynasty Warriors experimenting with new genres because it often leads to innovation, and Abyss does succeed overall with adapting the ideas of a massive roster of characters and over-the-top Muso action. However, not enough of the other elements of a genuinely excellent action roguelite line up here to make it the kind I return to for months. Warriors Abyss's IGN score? 7 out of 10. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson. And for the latest Warriors Abyss updates, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.